We'll move on. Let's talk about Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Brock Lesnar goes in as a champion. Who knows what's going on with his contract deal? Thought this was going to be his last day, was the word on the street. Roman comes into this thing. Some people just thought the match was so simple with Suplex City, spears, the usual offense that both these guys do. And then, Brock starts taking off those gloves, starts going to the ground and pound, a couple of well-placed elbows to Roman's head. It turns into a bloodbath. It wasn't a real long match. What was the time on this?
This was one of those matches that, we've seen it before. It was Groundhog's Day. I was surprised to see this match end up at clocking at 15:55. That's almost 16-minute match, a very redundant match. F5, 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 right. F5. It was a very one-dimensional outing. The crowd really turned on, and that's probably the takeaway from this match is if you're grooming the guy that's going to follow up John Cena, and he's about to take that mantle, and you've spent now 4 years, really 5 years when you look back and rewind to when they were doing it, when the Shield was going wild. They spent a half a decade getting to right about this moment, and you can hear the crowd just so against it, so hard against it. And it's not just the WrestleMania crowd, and you can say maybe the hardcore crowd. It's the crowd that comes every week. I think had you had that heel turn and had gotten there differently, maybe it would have been possible. But this is one of those, like, let's just keep repeating it and hope if we just make a few alterations, it will get the job done. And sometimes making those adjustments does get the job done. And in this case, it didn't seem like this crowd, or I think really any crowd's going to receive this any better. Roman Reigns took a beating, and I think it's the old, the bayface, just keeps coming back for more, and eventually you're just going to love this guy because he's got all that grit. Well, I don't necessarily think that's going to happen in this case. I just think it's become one of those dynamics where the fans are gonna reject this in this presentation in this capacity, and I don't know if it's going to get any better for Roman and a flash title switch, whether it would be on a Monday Night Raw or the next pay-per-view. I don't know if that's going to change it at all. At this point, you really got to consider and realistically change your course and go in a different direction. The closest we saw to the crowd accepting Roman Reigns in the last few years was really the most recent revival of the Shield, which unfortunately, because of Dean Ambrose's injury, got derailed. But I think that was the best shot of going into WrestleMania season with him being received well by the audience was the Shield reunion. They enjoy him in that capacity. They don't seem to enjoy him chasing the belt. I can't remember in all my years of watching wrestling where you're grooming the guy to be the next guy, and half a decade later, you're still trying it, and it's not clicking, and you're still trying it now. It does speak probably a little bit to Vince McMahon's stubbornness, but at the same time, you got to read your crowd, which is always something he would tell me. So you got to listen and read your crowd. And what are they saying right now? They're saying, pass. This ain't it.
Man, I'll tell you what, the thing that got me about that match was there at the end on the 1, 2, 3, like I said, all the F5s. He keeps kicking out. Man, all of a sudden, Brock goes to work with those elbows, opens him up, and he is a crimson mass. Sometimes sometimes you can do a little bit too much color with the blade. Now, obviously, this is a hard waste, but it was a little too much blood. Just because it was just almost grotesque. And dude, when I say that, it's too much blood. But nonetheless, it was an effective picture. So, and that's a moot point, actually. I guess the point I'm trying to make is when Brock pinned him for the 1, 2, 3, there was a resounding positive pop rather than a boo. So, people thought Brock was going to ride off in the sunset. Some people were tired of him for being a part-timer. Again, some people are hot and cold on Roman, but when that 1, 2, 3 went down, dude, it wasn't a boo, and there was mixed reactions during the match, because, like I said, it was just F5s. It was the same old, stuff. I mean, some good stuff out there on the desk, outside, brutality. Both guys worked their ass off. I'm not knocking the effort. It was a brutal, effective match to a point, but when Brock got that 1, 2, 3, dude, I mean, the way those people cheered, if you don't think about that, or if that doesn't make you rethink what's going on,